slightly similar to this, related to this. Now, I would like to talk about the International Crimes Tribunal and the Shahbag Square movement. Okay. The next topic is the International Crimes Tribunal and the Shahbag Square movement. So, this is a very important discussion I would like to make. It is all related to the formation of Bangladesh and the issues happened there. Shahbag Square is the main city center of Dhaka, the capital city. The capital city, a main, like India Gate in New Delhi. Or gateway of India in Mumbai. The main or Times Square in New York City. Same thing here, in Dhaka it is the Shahbag Square. Now, there is something called a Shahbag Square movement in 2012-13. So, let me just talk about this, what is that issue and why is it in news and which is a heartening news for India. That is why I would like to discuss this International Crimes Tribunal and the Shahbag Square movement, that is the heading, and please listen carefully. So, this International Crimes Tribunal is a domestic, what is that? It is a domestic war crimes tribunal in Bangladesh. ICT, Crimes Tribunal, is a domestic war crimes tribunal, which was set up in Bangladesh in 2009, okay, to investigate and prosecute the the people who are involved in the genocide in the Bangladesh civil war. Okay, this is to investigate and prosecute, okay, to investigate and prosecute the people who were behind the 1971 or during that civil war, March 25th till December. So, 1971 civil war, the war of independence of Bangladesh. The Pakistan army and the Razakars, I told, the Pak army and the Razakars. Razakars are the paramilitary forces of Pakistan who committed lot of war crimes, and they wanted, and some of the Jamaat-e-Islami leaders, they were pro Pakistan at that time, and also their student wing of Jamaat-e-Islami called Al-Badr and Al-Shams. These were all student wing or the branches of Jamaat-e-Islami at that time. They all participated. They wanted to prevent the civil war from happening, or they wanted to prevent the partition of Pakistan. They wanted to continue as a single Pakistan, the East Pakistan. These people, the Jamaat-e-Islami, Al-Badr, Al-Shams, all these parties and groups wanted East Pakistan to continue as part of West Pakistan, or East Pakistan or Bangladesh as part of Pakistan. They wanted to prevent the independence from happening, but in the process they ended up in killing millions of people, ended up in having a genocide, killing. So, this was to be tried, and the war criminals were to be, there should be investigation against these and prosecute those fellows, those who are involved, to investigate and prosecute those who are involved in the war crimes. That was the idea behind this International Crimes Tribunal. In fact, this idea of a war crimes fact finding committee was appointed by Sheikh Hasina, but the original thing was in 1973 itself. See, in 1973, the Bangladesh Parliament passed this, the International Crimes Tribunal Act. Okay. International Crimes Tribunal Act was passed in 1973, but unfortunately, it was supposed to be an international panel of judges and all should be there. They will look into, inquire into the war crimes committed by the Pakistani army and the paramilitary forces, and whoever were involved, they wanted to punish. That was the idea. But even though this act was passed, it was never implemented. Before that, the 1975 coup took place. So, this International Crimes Tribunal, which was created, or rather the act was passed, but it was never created in 1973. Now, this ICT, International Crimes Tribunal Act, ICT Act of 1973. So, this can be termed as the ICT Act of 1973, was never implemented at that time, and this was done in 2009 when Awami League came back to power with that massive majority. Please remember, in December 28 election 2008, in December 2008 election, Awami League captured 270 out of 300 seats, I already told. Because of that massive victory, one of the promises given by Awami League was that she will recreate, or Sheikh Hasina, because her father's killers, and she wanted to do some justice to the people who are victims of the civil war at that time. They said they will reconstitute this International Crimes Tribunal. So, this International Crimes Tribunal was created or recreated in 2009. But of course, there is no international right now, even though the name is International Crimes Tribunal, no international judge was appointed, no international advocates were involved, everything was Desi, everything was Bangladeshi only, no separate international team was there, it was a domestic, that is why I use the term ICT. When I said what is that ICT, I said it is a domestic war crimes tribunal which is created in 2009. Even though the original law was passed in 1973, where international judges, advocates, human rights activists all were supposed to be involved, nothing was involved. It was a domestic war crimes tribunal created in 2009, and they started investigating. And by 2012, so 9, this ICT was created. They have identified 9 Jamaat-e-Islami leaders, then the 2 BNP leaders, the present day BNP is 2 leaders, and 2 of them. So, 9 Jamaat-e-Islami leaders and 2 BNP leaders were identified, and they were identified and declared as participated in the war crime. They participated in the genocide. They were identified by 2012, and the International Crimes Tribunal conducted the trial, and the first person based on this, based on the trial, who was convicted was a person called Abdul Kalam Azad, and his nickname was Bachchu. Okay, Abdul Kalam Azad or Bachchu. He was tried, but he was not present. I mean, even though he was identified, he was not there in Bangladesh. He was living in exile in Pakistan. So, he could not be arrested. The trial was conducted in absentia, and Abdul Kalam Azad was sentenced to death. He was in absentia, he was tried, he left the country much before, and he was sentenced to death in January 2013. Okay. So, in January 2013, the verdict came and he was sentenced to death for participating in the war crimes of 1971. Crime is conducted in 71. Now, the final trial has taken place in 2012, and in 2013, January 2013, he was sentenced to death, but he was not present in Bangladesh. Now, the next person to be tried was a Jamaat-e-Islami leader, and at that time he was a student wing leader. Okay, he was a student wing leader at that time of 1971. Student wing leader, but now he has become, see, 1970, 2012 we are talking, after 40 years the trial is going on, and this Abdul Qadir Mullah, Abdul Qadir Mullah, or he was he was right now he is a assistant to the general secretary of Jamaat and all, Abdul Qadir Mullah, or he was otherwise known as Koshai Mullah. Okay, Koshai Mullah, his nickname was Koshai Mullah. Koshai in Bangla means Kasai. Kasai means butcher. In English, his nickname was Butcher of Mirpur. This Abdul Qadir Mullah, his nickname was Butcher of Mirpur. You can imagine, he was not a butcher of the goat or chicken. He was the butcher of human beings. He was known, his nickname itself was Koshai Mullah, meaning he was Kasai, he was a butcher. During the freedom struggle, during that civil war, he killed thousands of people, thousands, just imagine. And he was living in Bangladesh free, he was no case against him, he was living, but when this ICT was created in 2009, his name also came, trial took place, and in February 2013, so everybody, so he was accused of killing at least 50,000 people. Everybody expected him to get a capital punishment. Naturally, if the first fellow who was tried in absentia, he was given capital punishment. But the International Crimes Tribunal, when they conducted the trial, and in February 2013, the verdict came, he was given only a life imprisonment. He was given a life imprisonment. Please listen. The first fellow who was tried at that time, his name was this Abdul Kalam Azad or Bachchu. In absentia, he was tried and he was sentenced to death. But the second fellow whose trial took place, that is Abdul Qadir Mullah or this Koshai Mullah or the butcher of Mirpur, he was given only life imprisonment. Everybody was expecting a capital punishment. The secular elements of the country, the ordinary citizens of the country who were not intoxicated with religion, everybody, the ordinary, the normal people of Bangladesh had a shock of their life, because they were all expecting capital punishment to this fellow, and it was they were dumbstruck. The people, they could not react. They said, what is this going on? This fellow, the whole country knows that he is a killer, he has killed thousands of people. He was known, his nickname itself is Butcher of Mirpur, and now he got only life imprisonment, no capital punishment. So the people started commenting. In those days WhatsApp was not there, this blogging was there, the internet was just started becoming very active at that time. People started blogging, independent fellows, individuals, they started all commenting, all this trolling, and started at that time. People started reacting. They wrote, what nonsense is going on in this country. Some people, they wrote, many of them, that secular elements, those ultra Bangla nationalists who were against all religious, because there were so many atheists also in Bangladesh. Please remember, even though it's a Muslim majority country, Bangladesh has so many atheists. They are radical elements, the radical socialists are there. They all started writing. And after a couple of days, after maybe a couple of weeks, some of them said that, why don't we meet? They were writing about this verdict in disbelief, and they said that, why don't we meet? They said, where to meet? They said, why not on a particular day, at a particular time, and those who were exchanging their views through internet, through blogging, these bloggers, they said, why not we meet at the Shahbag Square, to protest again. I mean, initially there was no protest movement and all, just to discuss about what is happening in our country, how can this fellow be released with given a smaller punishment, why no capital punishment to this fellow. So, they agreed to come and discuss at the Shahbag Square and at the intersection in that park. Some of these less than 50 people came in the first day. They agreed to meet again, and within a few days this has become a massive movement, Shahbag Square movement, demanding capital punishment to this Kosai Mullah. This is a secular sections of the society. The secular sections of the society, they reacted violently. They felt that this is nonsense going on in this country. This is a mockery of the justice system. This fellow who is accused of killing thousands of people, they are given only what you call life imprisonment, no capital punishment. This has become a massive countrywide movement, and suddenly the whole world realized that Bangladesh has so many people who are secular in nature. It was felt at that time that more than 90% of the country were secular, and even though the Jamaat-e-Islami type of parties were very vocal, it was found that majority of those people are secular, or vast majority are secular. They demanded capital punishment in a big way. The government obliged, how they they amended the ICT provision, ICT Act was amended, and they amended and added a provision for appealing against the ICT verdict in the Supreme Court. There is a provision was added to appeal against ICT verdict by the prosecution in Supreme Court. There was no provision earlier. So, they added this. See, but this is a law is amended after the case has been, the verdict has come. It is an ex post facto legislation. Please remember, this is an ex post facto legislation. So, through this ex post facto legislation, that means legislation after the verdict and everything has happened, and using that the government appealed against this what you call life imprisonment, and the Supreme Court enhanced the punishment as capital punishment. Supreme Court enhanced the punishment subsequently, and finally this Kader Mullah or this Kosai Mullah or this butcher of Mirpur, he was executed, he was sentenced to death, and he was executed in I think in early 2013. Okay. So, after sorry, in 2013 or 14, I mean early, I think in early 2014 he was finally executed. Okay. Yeah, December 2013 I forgot. So, he was finally executed. So, early to the or end of 2013, in December 2013 he was executed, Kader Mullah, and he was executed. But this has dented, now the problem is this has dented the credibility of Bangladesh government, the Bangladesh justice system. You are changing the law during the trial is going on, or when the verdict came and the verdict is not in favor of the majority of the people. So, you change the law to satisfy the requirements of the people. So, this is nothing but mob justice, this is mobocracy. Okay. People talk about mobocracy or mob justice. You are changing the law to satisfy the requirements of the mob, the crowd, which is, this is not the justice system. You cannot change the law, you cannot give a verdict based on what the public want, public may be demanding many things. So, this has made, and even the way the trial was conducted, many international agencies including Amnesty International, the Human Rights Watch, and many other human rights activists, they all questioned the way the trial was conducted, even though there is no doubt regarding these fellows' involvement in the crime, but the due process should be followed, due process to be followed. It was not followed properly. The rule of law was not implemented in the right spirit. That is how the questions came. So, anyway, so finally, this Qusay Mullah and the rest of the trial also took place. The rest of the trial also took place, and in that most of them, in fact, I think 6 of them were sentenced to death, and most of them were executed, and others, and another, what you call, another accused, I think his name was Ghulam Azam. Just one more point I would like to add. Ghulam Azam, a funny thing, when his trial took place, I think it is Ghulam Azam only, he was already 92 years of age, because the crime took place 40 years before, 1971. So, the trial took place and he was found guilty by the ICT. Then ICT said that he is already 92. So, now there is no point in giving capital punishment to him, too old. So, he was given life imprisonment. Just see, he was given life imprisonment, and it was declared that he has given life imprisonment for 90 years. 92-year-old man and life imprisonment for 90 years. He was not given capital punishment, but finally within 2 years, that is 2013, this verdict came, and within 2 years, I think 2015, he died natural death, because already he was 92 when the verdict came. Anyway, so this justice was done finally. So, but what has happened is this, most of them were Jamaat-e-Islami leaders, and Jamaat-e-Islami tried to regroup, or rather they wanted to protect their leaders. So, they created an organization, or rather the counter demonstration and a counter organization called Hifazat-e-Islam. They created a counter organization called Hifazat-e-Islam to counter the Shahbag movement. So, this the Hifazat-e-Islam means defenders of religion, defenders of Islam. They reorganized, or rather they counter organized, a counter consolidation, and in the process Bangladesh was divided, deeply divided between secularists versus the religious Jamaat-e-Islami, secularists versus fundamentalists. So, what I am trying to tell is, ultimately most of these leaders were executed. In the end, what has happened is the Shahbag Square movement. There are two things, the conclusion about the Shahbag Square movement. First conclusion is, the whole world has realized that Bangladesh has so many secular supporters, more than 4/5, more than 80%, some people say even 90% of the people are truly secular in Bangladesh even today, which is something which is a music to our ears, music to the ears of Indians, because we were thinking that Bangladesh is becoming too radical and too much of radical support, Bangladesh is going the Pakistan way, that is what we thought. But Shahbag Square movement reminded us, all of us, that secularism is still alive, and the vast majority of the people of Bangladesh are not interested in this religious fundamentalism. That is a welcome news from Bangladesh. That is number one. Number two is this division between seculars versus fundamentalists, secularism versus religious followers like Jamaat-e-Islami, has created a deep division in the society. This created a deep division in the society. And see, the idea behind this ICT, the International Crimes Tribunal, was to heal the wounds of that civil war and to give justice to the people, the victims. But rather than healing the wounds, it has opened up new wounds. Okay. So, what has ultimately happened is, rather than healing the wounds of the civil war and the killings, and to provide justice of the civil war. See, the aim was to give justice to the victims, the killers should be punished. Rather than healing the wounds, this whole process, the whole process has reopened other wounds, or rather it has started, it has opened new wounds, it created new problems to the society. So, this entire process of ICT is marred with controversy. International community questioned the way the trial was conducted. They did not question why these fellows are tried, that is not the issue. The way the trial was conducted, international community questioned, and even when they enhanced the punishment for the Qadar Mullah, the whole the judicial system in Bangladesh was under question mark, which has not given a good publicity to Bangladesh in the process. And in the process, Jamaat-e-Islami and others, these fundamentalists, they said that, see, the international community is opposing this ICT by saying that they were trying to drum up support for their leaders. But of course, that has created a division in the society rather than unifying the society. So, that is how, so Shahbag Square movement was a secular movement in Bangladesh, which was held in 2012-13 time as a reaction to not giving capital punishment to one of the main war criminals of the 1971 civil war, Qadar Mullah or Butcher of Mirpur. So, that was how this Shahbag Square movement at that time, it was a big event, or rather a big incident. It tested the character of Bangladesh, and in that Bangladesh came out, I will say, in flying colors as far as secularism is concerned, but it has also raised so many question marks about the judicial system and the rule of law, the due process and everything came under severe question in Bangladesh during that time. So, that is about the Shahbag Square movement. So, that was a major incident happened at that time.